This week, we've got racing results from IXCR. And that's about it. So strap in as we bring you up to the race pace. And welcome back to Race Pace, sponsored by CW Motorsports. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And we had a record-setting weekend for attendance out at IXCR.
Yeah, I went out there. I was able to get out there. I actually wasn't going to go, but just too many other things. I mean, you all know how it is. When you're busy, you're busy. But
at the end of the day, you could not resist the sweet, sweet siren song of racing.
I couldn't. So... I don't know what time it was, 3 o'clock or so in the afternoon. One of the guys sends me a message and said, "Hey, are you coming?" I was like, I don't think so. I've got a lot to do. He says, "You ought to come." And that was really all it took. I'm like, all right, I'm hopping in the truck. I can make it there by like 4:30.
Okay, fine.
That's pretty much what happened. So, yep.
But they had 1,005 racers, not like attendance of, people showing up. They had 1,005 racers this weekend.
It was packed.
That's amazing.
Now, Mission Impossible is always one of their big ones.
Yeah.
So let's add that in. Not to take anything away from them, but it just is one of their big ones. And this year, it did not disappoint. There were people everywhere. There was a ton of side-by-sides. I don't know what the total final count was. I sent Doug a picture of it. Maybe he can toss it in here. Of what you'd be looking at is just the pro row, and there is 2 rows of them. And I don't know, there had to be 20-ish of them, 20-something pros.
Looking at the overalls here, I've got 42 that finished, another 2 that were DNFs, a disqualification. So that puts us at 45, and 2 trail riders. So that's 47 machines.
Yeah. There's a bunch. Really impressive. That track is always kind of the same. As soon as I pulled in, somebody I know said, "Well, you racing today?" I said, "No, I'm just here to spectate. Just got my machine back together," which you guys can see in the back. Maybe we'll talk about that here in a second too. But he said, "Are you racing?" I said, "No, just spectating." And he said, "It's a rough one out there." So whenever somebody tells you the first thing about it and they offer up saying it's rough, you know it's rough.
The UTV guys always say it's rough out there.
Yeah. So we had
they need to go down and race at Loretta Lynn and then come back and say that it was rough.
Yeah, Loretta Lynn. Yeah. So we had some of the normal people there. Michael Plank was there racing. I think that's Ralph Lovell, some of the normal guys we talk about were there racing. A couple of them had some no good luck, which maybe, I don't know. Let's do finishes first and how everybody did, and then we'll get to the no luck team.
So, Heavy Pro Mod, you had Mitch Langford finishing first, followed up by Ty Phillips in second, Matt Lithgow in third, Brandon Monsell, couldn't read it,
yep.
Sorry, small print, old eyes. Michael Zeidel, and then Gary Manuel. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's
finished. Those are the top 7 there, so that's the line above which they plaqued, because there are enough of them that, you go all the way down to 7th there. And then rounding out the top 10, you got Dwight Pollard and Cole Secoy.
Yep. So, speaking
John Barnes
of
down at 14th. He only turned 1 lap, so he didn't have much luck.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the other ones here. Yeah, it looks like actually quite a few names that you'd normally recognize did not do well.
It was a rough track. It just always is there. I don't know what happened to John Barnes. I saw him and talked to him at his trailer before and said, small talk. Said, "Hey, well, the machine ready?" He said, "Yep, just, changing some air pressure a little bit." He's kind of made the same comment. There's some rock gardens out there that are going to be pretty rough. And I think he pulled out before we ended up getting back to the trailer. and I'll explain why it took us so long to get back to the trailer here in a minute. But yeah, I don't know. And Dwight Pollard was leading for the longest time, like 3 or 4 laps he was leading, and then he dropped back a few. I think he had some problems, and it was just one that the slightest little mistake, and it was taking you out of the race.
Yeah, it looks like Barnes, he only turned 1 lap. David Sodor only turned 2 laps. Jason Wooford only got 3 laps in. So, you got a lot of people that just, it claimed quite a few out there.
Yeah, and these are guys that are normally real good finishers. Like, they're not checkers or wreckers types.
Exactly.
They're normally good finishers.
Well, Mike Plank normally finishes, and usually finishes up near the top. If he's not at the top, he's up near it. 7th place, only got 3 laps in, so no luck for him either.
He ended up breaking a U-joint, and he had just replaced that U-joint. So he pulled over and stopped, and that was the end of it for him. He was able to drive it out eventually because, we looked at it with him when we were out there in the woods and said, well, it's already broke. You can't break it any more than what it is. And it was kind of binding up, like the yoke would grab occasionally on the diff. And we were like, you can't break it any more than it is, so you might as well just drive it out slow. There is no big hills between him and getting out, so he could drive back to the start line and just, he crawled out at maybe 5 miles an hour at most.
So down there, single pro mod top 3 that plaqued there were Drew Moore, Mitch Wooford, and Brad Ashby. And then, like we said, Michael Plank, unfortunately, down there in 7th. Moving down to the heavies, you had Chad Cash and Rick Strange finishing 1 and 2, and those are the 2 positions that plaqued there. Matt Hecker down in 5th, which sounds respectable, but there was only 6 people in heavy, and he only got 3 laps in. So,
yeah, he pulled off just after the finish line when we were standing there watching him. I don't know what his problem is. I didn't get to talk to him after the race, but he pulled off. He was not coming through fast. I mean, the machine was together. It looked like all the tires were up, but he was having some kind of issue. I don't know.
That, like you said, rough track, just claiming its victims. Moving down into heavy limited, you had Logan Flanagan in 1st, Steve Conkrite in 2nd, Ryan Beeman in 3rd, and Jeremiah Braun finished in 4th, and those were the plaque positions. And then I love this, Bo McGrew was in 5th place. Just missed the plaque there, but that's a racing name if I've ever heard one.
Yes, it is.
But you had 12 there in heavy limited. You had 6 in the heavies, 7 in the single pro mod. You had 18 left from the heavy pro mod. Brandy Wilson was racing by herself in the women's. Light mod, Dustin Fields raced by himself. Trail rider, we had a couple there. David DePascal and Ray Mason in the trail rider. So you had a really good field, actually.
There was a bunch. I mean, it was good to see. It really was. And was it Cam or Brody who raced yesterday? They swapped racing.
I'll tell you here in a second.
I'm pretty sure it was Brody. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not positive. Doug will let us know. But
he's a UTV senior, right?
Yeah, but he got first. I know he did. I think it was Brody who raced.
Come on, computer, do the things.
It'll go. Jason.
The racing is faster than IXCR's website. Okay, it was Brody.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Brody drove yesterday.
We didn't want to be accused of fake news, so we had to
verify. But Jason Bunch rode with him. He did good, man. He shot out of the hole, never looked back. I think by the first lap, he had a good 30-second lead. Well, this will tell you something. His elapsed time was 28 minutes and 6 seconds. The second place finisher was 28 minutes and 8 seconds. But Brody turned 4 laps. She only turned 3. So that tells you the pace he was keeping. He was moving. Like, he was doing really good.
Yeah.
So good on him.
So one other interesting thing to note is Drew Moore actually finished first overall, and he was the single pro mod. With the time adjustment, he was actually top in the overall.
Yeah.
He was out there moving pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like total elapsed time, he was 57 minutes and 1 second, and then Mitch Langford was 56 minutes, 35 seconds, but with the time adjustment between the rows, he just took it.
Yeah. He was moving out there, and that's what, I mean, we've said it multiple times. I know that I just did big horsepower upgrades on mine, but in the woods, those RS1s, they are an absolute force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
I mean, Brad Ashby has proven that with his driving, and all these other guys in these RS1s that are running with cars that have 100 horsepower on them. Like, they have double the horsepower, and the RS1s are running with them. I mean, Alan Burton is prime example, too. Yeah. He wasn't there this weekend, but these guys are able to push these cars because you're seated in the middle, and every one of them said the same thing. Once you get used to sitting in the middle, which doesn't take all that long, you can see both tires, and you can just fly through the woods.
Yep.
So if you are XC racing and that's really what you're wanting to do, and like that's all you're really wanting to do, just go get an RS1. Like, just do that.
And they're stupid cheap. I mean, you can find used ones that already have accessories on them and have barely been broken in, and you see them used for 10 grand or less all the time.
Yeah, the prices have gone up a little bit on a lot of them, but what's it been? About a month ago, one of the guys posted one that was out of Missouri. I'm wanting to say it was Kansas City. They stupidly, someone just didn't know what they had, and they posted it for $7,500.
Oh, yeah.
And it was basically like every guy couldn't get like money out of his pocket fast enough and drive there to try and get it, and it essentially came down to people started like a bidding war, and the person realized that they had vastly underpriced it, and the prices just started going up.
Yeah.
So, but it's the way to go. If you're wanting to just XC race, it's easy, like entry-level pricing, as in comparison to you get into a new X3 and you start building it, you're going to have easy 30,000, if not closer to 40,000 in it. Whereas you can be in a RS1 and probably be around 20-ish thousand in it.
20, maybe 25 at the high side, but...
Yeah, I mean, and there's some guys that have more than that in them because they've just, you start putting HCR arms on them and trailing arms and all that stuff. I mean, it costs money, but you can go race right out of the box with them nearly. I'd replace the radius rods and lower A arms and just go.
Yeah.
So.
Well, looking ahead, we've got next weekend, August 29th, you've got IXCR over in Dresden, Ohio, which again, not exactly a metropolis, but it's a new track, supposedly going to be pretty solid out there, so might be worth getting out there and checking it out. Again, if you live kind of in the Indiana area and you want to go do one IXCR race this year, this is probably going to be the closest one to you.
Yep. Also, the Ohio, I think it's OXCR or something like that. There's some XC racing kind of series that's over there. Those guys, I think, are getting a little big for their britches because they have basically called out everyone in AXCC and we're going to show you what's up and how to woods race.
I mean, sure. I don't think anybody can really honestly argue that Indiana's the hotbed for that right now. But, it's cool. Ohio boys, you can have some fun too.
I kind of was talking to some of the guys this weekend, and I made the statement, I'm sure there's a fast guy or two there. It's like any series. You kind of have a fast person or two in any series. But I used Matt Rowell, as an example. You take Matt Rowell and you put him in any one of the local series here, IXCR, MWXC, Extreme. Basically, he stands a really good chance of winning. I mean, sure. He is one of the faster guys out there. Barring something happening, he stands a really good chance of winning. You throw him over into AXCC, and he really has to fight to even podium, and it doesn't always happen. That's how much higher the level of competition is there.
Yep.
So
they have a round 6 on their webpage. It just says round 6 to be announced Saturday, August 29th. So your guess is as good as mine what that means for OXCR.
Yeah, I don't know. But they basically, like, were saying, oh, yeah, we're going to show these guys how to XC race. And I'm sitting there thinking, good luck. I'd like to see how you guys place.
Yeah, I admire their moxie. It's going to bite them in the butt in the long run, but hey.
Yeah. So, but that should be fun either way.
Absolutely. Rachel Cheatwood sent us some results from Texplex overalls for the season. I believe this is Texplex that she sent us, right?
Yes, it is Texplex. Okay.
Just want to make sure I wasn't totally losing my mind. Just partially. So Pro NA, we're just going to run through some of these real quick. Pro NA, Colin Truitt took the overall, followed up by Sean Hess, Chris Kirkmeyer, Cody Martin, and AJ Payne, top 5. Now, the reason we're only going through, the top whatever of these is because there's 38 people.
Yeah.
In Pro NA. So there's quite a few cars in there. But that's your top 5 there. We're actually going to jump down to 8th because Jubal Cheatwood actually placed 8th overall, which in a field like that, pretty solid.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be more than happy with that. So that's Pro NA. Man, there's like everything here.
They have a ton of classes there.
Yes, they do. Let me see what else we got here. 1000cc Turbo Expert. It's 1000cc, I can tell you that. Let's see. We've got, looks like Boudreaux Nicholson, Quinn Wilson, Kyle Roach, Blake Helms, and Jared, looks like Mir, sorry. Jared Mir in 5th place, so that's your top 5 overall there. Looking down through, not a lot of other names you'd recognize, at least from like this area that we're kind of used to.
Right.
But 1000cc naturally aspirated expert, Max Brill Jr. in 1st, John Gandy, Perry Hathaway, Gerald Jones, and Kyler Holcomb taking the top 5 spots there. Again, just tons and tons of cars in these classes. I'm amazed how big they are.
Yeah.
1000cc Turbo Amateur. You got, here's your boy, Rusty Pipes. Trey Thornton, Gary Nicholson, Bobby Whitney, and Dwayne Sanders running the top 5 there. And it looks like that class has 52 cars in it.
Texplex just has such a massive draw.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. One of the ones I would like to get to is their endurance race they have coming up here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially since there's going to be no Heartland Challenge this year.
Yeah, they didn't even reschedule it that I've seen. So
no, it's just not happening. They've just written it off, and they're moving forward to look into next year.
Yep.
1000cc NA Amateur, you got Zachary Stewart, Logan Neal, Rhett Brine, Lee Knowles, and TJ Owens taking the top 5 spots there. And that's going to put us down into some of the smaller classes. Under 900, Rachel Cheatwood, 1st place.
There you go. Good job.
Good job, Rachel. Langston Lane, Tyler Bunch, Courtney Carter, and Christian Gaston taking the top 5 spots there. So 22 in that class. 570s, there's actually 13 of those. Brooklyn Singleton, who I'm assuming Brooklyn's a girl, but looks like she took 1st place. Jace Leach, Cole Goff, Paxton Schendel, Carson Vale, and Callie Gaston. Actually, I went down to 6 because I got really excited about that class, evidently.
Okay.
And then they do have 170s down there as well. 170 stock, you got... who is this? Code St. Peter in 1st, Lincoln Smiley in 2nd, Lennox Smiley in 3rd, Tanner Thompson in 4th, and Tyler Hicks taking the top 5 spot. And there are 35 machines in that class in the 170s.
Woo!
Yeah, more than you'd think.
Yeah.
And then they have a dedicated women's division as well that has 16 spots in it. Lacey Tewksbury in 1st, Kendra Hoop in 2nd, Elena Baker in 3rd, Jennifer Mayo in 4th, and Sarah Schultz taking the top 5 there.
Good deal.
So that's kind of a rundown on Texplex and the overalls, just to give people some credit. But honestly, to everybody who raced out there, I don't care if you finished in 42nd. You got out there and you did a thing and you had some fun. And a lot of these people finished further down because they could only make 1 or 2 races. I mean, that's a long drive with people's schedules, with the COVID crap in the middle. A lot of people are only able to make 1 or 2 races when they got down there. So congratulations no matter where you finish. But, to the top finishers there, that took a level of dedication that a lot of people just don't have in them. So, props to you.
Yep. So, okay, before we wrap up, because I know we're getting short on time.
All right.
Update on my X3. Wait, first, there's no Yamaha Wolverine in here anymore. It's gone.
Yay!
Yay! We finally got the motor in it, got it all buttoned up, and it has driven out under its own power, hopefully to never return again. But the X3, mine is all back together. I got to drive it once, not because something's wrong, just lack of time still. And I'm putting that whole video together, hopefully I think I'm going to release it in 2 parts, because I don't want to make it super long. So, I'll release part 1 hopefully later this week maybe, and part 2 probably next week. That'll be my plan anyway.
Awesome. We'll get to see the fruits of your labor out at Short Course at Wagler in October.
Yeah, now I have more power, so I can send it farther off the jump. And maybe completely roll it.
You just need a hoop-shaped cage where you just, like they have the motorcycle in the circus that has the hoop over it, and they do the wheelie and then, just roll it.
Yeah.
You could just do that.
I need wings. I just need wings.
Just Red Bull. Sponsored by Red Bull. Well, we do want to thank our actual sponsors. Of course, CW Motorsports, our title sponsor for this year, but we've also got Watch Communications on board, Spangs Fab, and 834 Powder Coat. Yep. You can find us on the web at eminentperformance.com, on Facebook and Instagram, Eminent Racing, on YouTube /Eminent Performance, and anywhere you're looking for a podcast, if you just look up Eminent Performance, you're going to find us there as well.
Yeah.
If it's not too much trouble, if you could leave us a like or a comment, if you could subscribe, do whatever it is that the platform you're on allows you to, that just helps us grow, helps us bring you more content and comments, I suppose. Both. And shows the platforms that you're actually interested in what we're getting. And if you click the little bell icon after you subscribe on YouTube specifically, that will alert you anytime we crank out new stuff.
Yep. That pretty much covers all of it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. All right, everybody, we're a little long on time, but we're not going to apologize because racing is awesome. But we will see you down the road.
Thanks, guys.